Brought to you in part by Ladericorn Speaks, LLC.
Hey, welcome to KROSS BARZ, the podcast where we discuss interesting topics while turning in perspective. I am your co-host, Big O, and I have with me...
Hey, Jay, Tanae is back in the building one more time, y'all, and we are shaking it up. We are shaking it up right now. The algorithm is going crazy because we got two people from the cast on Friday on the podcast. We got Miss Kathleen Bradley and we got Miss Angela Means on the show. Give it up. They're models, they're actresses, they're writers, they're authors, they're mothers. They got it all. Give it up for you guys. Thank you so much, ladies, for being on this show.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad I
Okay, wait a minute. All right, so we got to get here. Did either of you, just, copyright the names? Miss Parker, hey, Miss Parker, or by Felisha?
It's we were talking about doing a T-shirt. On the front, it was gonna say "Hey, Miss Parker," and on the back, it was gonna say "Bye, Felisha."
Oh my God! Y'all, listen, before this air, see if anybody has that, because I'm like, I learned about an interview like a few years ago. Birdman's biggest regret. He was like, I wish I would have copywritten "Bling Bling," and I was like, you didn't do that, and he was like, no. I said, who got it? So like, I'm trying to figure out like who has that. If y'all came up with it, shouldn't y'all have it? And it was like, no. And I said, I said that was going to be my first question. Like, Bye Felisha is a part of the lexicon, and Hey Miss Parker is a part of pop culture. Yeah, so because you can walk up to any woman and say, a lady of a certain status and say, hey, Miss Parker. She understands what you're saying. Yes. She understands what you're saying. Hey, Miss Parker. Or, Bye Felisha. Just, I hear so many educators like, Bye Felisha. Like, I don't got time for this. Bye Felisha. And so now it's like, I had to ask that question, like, please say yes. And if not, I'm going to maybe look into that.
Well, I know that someone did copyright Bye Felisha, but they can't use it like they think they can use it because Gettleberg Productions and New Line can always come back and contest it because it was, it was copyright as part of a script.
Okay.
It's already copyright. They don't have to. They already own the phrase.
Oh, okay.
So,
gotcha.
So they can shut that down because when you go to trademark a phrase, they ask you, has this been published? Has it been, and the two names, Mrs. Parker and Felisha, have been repeated in pop culture more than any character in cinematic history.
Is that right? Wow.
Absolutely.
Bars,
Think about it. What
bars,
other characters from a film? Can you tell me what other characters
are from a film, from a TV? Martin.
Martin's still not.
But that's television. It's not.
Yeah,
film.
It's not movie. Yeah. I would say
don't say Martin in conversation though.
No.
Yeah. Or no, it's older. But here's Johnny because I think of The Shining.
They don't use it in conversation.
Yeah, they don't use that anymore. That's like older.
All right.
Like The Shining and Johnny Carsey. Here's Johnny. Like,
but Mrs. Parker, it will, like you said, someone sees a woman that they find attractive, that they, they don't know what else is. The first thing they're going to say is, hey, Miss Parker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy, do they have a lot of wannabes.
Right. Okay, talk that talk.
To our audience, Miss Kathleen. Yeah, Miss Kathleen Bradley played Miss Parker on the Friday cast, and Miss Angela Means played Felisha on the Friday cast. So do you ever get tired of people saying it?
I never do. Actually, I'm so grateful and blessed that they do say it. And even my 17-year-old grandson, bless his heart, he goes around and he says, hey, Miss Parker. Hey, Miss Parker.
That's a little strange.
I'm like, he goes, he has Down syndrome, though. He's a sweetheart if there ever was
one. His name?
And he says, hey, Miss Parker. And all of his dad's our friends, they know who Miss Parker is, and
Absolutely.
they're all into all of that and everything. And it took him a little while when he was growing up to kind of realize what was going on when his dad's friends were saying, "Hey, that's Miss Parker," because he hadn't seen it. But now he's on the internet. He replays and shows all the little trailers and everything, Miss Parker, and he like said, "That's you, G-Ma. That's you."
I love it.
Oh, you
Well,
G-Ma. Okay.
For me, it's an honor. Like, it's an honor to have been part of something that is such a huge thing in pop culture. You guys might have saw an interview with me a couple of years ago when I got tearful.
Yep.
First of all, I was working 80 hours a week running my restaurant, so I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And the point that I was trying to make is that it should be used in fun. It should be used in jest, and it shouldn't be used to try to hurt somebody. Don't say bye, Felisha, to a real Felisha. Yeah. It's redundant. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, my
and then some of the
Felisha.
right, some of the things that people were saying to me on, trolling me, I was like, it just hurt so bad that people would actually say that to a sister. That they would use it. So, but no, it's a true honor when people realize who you are and they light up and you're able to make somebody's day and they want to take pictures and art. No, this is like godsend.
Yeah, we don't want it to end. Let it keep going.
Was that actually put in the script, or was that just like some improv when he said that? Was that actually in the script, like that phrase?
I think both of them were improv because literally it was Def Jam the movie. Everybody in there was a Def Jam comic.
Correct.
And everybody in there. When Friday hit, it was at the height of the Black comedy explosion. Mm-hmm. So it was lightning in a bottle. They were telling stories about what was actually happening in in South Central. They were telling what was happening because remember in the 90s, it was all about the Crips and the Bloods. And every time you turn on the TV, South Central was portrayed as negative. And Pooh and Cube just put it on their backs to show you what was really, really happening. There were real families. There was love. There was unity. There were lessons learned. And there were these characters that weren't necessarily bangers. It was real people. So that along with the Black comedy explosion, the story. These comics were just they were just riffing left and right. Mm-hmm. And Kathleen was so beautiful and played the part she was just, there's acting. I think both of us didn't create caricatures. We created real, Mrs. Parker's a real person.
It's authentic.
Real, very authentic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And because we both played them authentic, the comics were able to just bounce off of us. So when you saw me, anybody would look at Kathleen on that set and be like, hey.
It reminded me, I had next door neighbors and they were very pretty ladies and they would be out on their lawn in our neighborhood. And when the men would go by, they would be like this. And they were like, I'm my Miss Parker. I kid you not, because they were beautiful ladies and people would go by and they'd be like, oh. They would look at them, and then everybody has a Felisha in their neighborhood. So
everybody. So those lines were riffed. They were absolutely riffed.
So my question was, because I've heard stories about the movie Friday that many much of the movie was ad-lib because you had so many comedians. So they had a thin script, but you had to stay in this, as I like to say, in this groove or lane. But many people had the authority to use some ad-lib, and Cube had the vision of, okay, they're funny. That's why they're in the movie. So let them be funny. So was that actually true? You guys were making it up as y'all went along?
Well, of course there was a script we had to follow, but absolutely F. Gary Gray in particular, I think more than Cube, because since he was the director, but they still gave us such license, authentic, a creative license to expound upon our characters and just really get into it and have a lot of freedom, a lot of ad lib. And it just happened, so everybody pretty much on there, like Angela said, were seasoned comedians or actors. And we just knew how to play off of each other, and we fed off of each other's words and sayings and meanings and whatever particular environment or predicament we were in. It just became so natural. You didn't feel like it was really rushed. You didn't feel like you couldn't say or do something that might be natural. So most of that was all natural and just a lot of ad-libbing, and it just worked perfectly well for everybody. They didn't feel stymied. You didn't feel like, ooh, I didn't say that right word or that right phrase. Heck, we have to do it again. And first of all, we didn't have the opportunity to do it again because it was such a short budget. So it pretty much had to take what was given to them.
Right.
You know, maybe we did 1 or 2 takes. Maybe that was about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a 2-take film. For me, the only ad-libbing that I did, because I was kind of working, I was in workshops and I was kind of working in method. So I stuck to the script. There were a few things that I said, there was a couple of risks.
It's the Mac.
It's the Mac.
When she scratched her ass and pulled her pants out of her ass.
That part.
Like, I know that whole movie by heart. So every line.
Right. But me walking up to the porch, if you watch the film, I'm the only one who goes and sits down. And I was following Gary, and I was just watching him just so I would stay in sync with my director. And he kept telling him, come on, we got to turn around and get her reverse. And I was like, Gary, we're not getting a reverse on me. She's invasive. So I went and sat down. I was like, no, she's going to sit down on the porch. And he was like, oh, yes. So when I sat down, if you look at it, I aimed my butt for Cube's arm, and his arm kind of made a wedgie in my pants. And when I
pulled
down,
your pants out, you're walking out.
If you notice, I kind of scoot because I got a wedgie. Because at the time I was wearing thongs, so I got a little wedgie and I kind of scoot. And so when on that first take, when I got up and I walked off, Cube laughed at me. He was like, damn, get your pants out your ass. So when I did it, everybody busted out and started laughing. And Gary was like, no, we got to turn the camera around.
Yeah.
So he only had to turn the camera around to get me walking up and get me walking away. So we did save a lot of time. That was the only, if you notice, that's the only time the cameras turned around. And they didn't have to light it. They didn't have to do much because it was exterior. But that's how the underwear thing happened. That it was, Cube is brilliant. Cube is a comedian, And when he said that, and like Kathleen said, we were all seasoned. We were all in our characters. When you saw Kathleen, she was Miss Parker. So we were able to bounce off of each other. And when he said it, we were so in the moment. I just did it, and it was funny.
Okay. So, I'm about to say Miss Parker. Kathleen, I want to know this. All right? Just being honest. Okay. Me growing up, I'm a young man of a certain age. You was just always, before Miss Parker, you was just the fine black lady on Price is Right. That's what it was like, the fine chick. Yeah, that's what it was like. Oh, which one? Oh, the black one. Yeah, so like everybody knows.
Not Janice.
No.
Somebody else.
Everybody knows that. I think it's in popular culture that when you see these game shows, everybody becomes racist because Price is Right, Jeopardy. Sometimes Jeopardy scares me. And also Wheel of Fortune and Family Feud is. Okay, that was obvious. One time my wife was rooting for the other family, and me and my daughters looked at her like, "What you doing?" Like, she's like, "I hope they get it." I'm like, "Wait, no, we're not doing." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the Camerons. They're going against the Jenkins. No, the Jenkins. So, on a Price is Right, I want to know this because I've seen the movie Happy Gilmore, and they portrayed Bob Barker in a certain light. Was he really like that? Like, was he more like what I seen in Price is Right, like upstanding, stern, or was he like a borderline comedian and had that undertone, or was he just,
Bob had a great sense of humor. He really did. He was very quick-witted, and as you can tell, he would say certain things while he was presenting or on the show, and with his quick wit. But he was a gentleman, a great stature. He was when I first got there, he was a lot of fun, kind to everyone, and loving and hugging, and just that charisma. He won over the audiences with his charisma, and with we all wanted people to win anyway on the show. But I mean, in terms of Happy Gilmore, of course, that was a character, but that was pretty much like his demeanor for the most part. It's like you don't mess with Bob. Bob's gonna kick your ass, okay? And he did. Happy found out. You could ask him that. But being on that show was a great, wonderful experience for me. And as a matter of fact, I was doing a lot of swimsuits, bathing suits, bikinis. We were doing bikinis back then. And that's how Cube, he saw me on The Price is Right.
Absolutely. We all saw you.
But I'm saying he wanted me, my character.
No, we all wanted you. No, slow down. She's like, it wasn't just him. I promise you.
He wanted that character because he asked my agent. He found me. He said, "I want that black lady on The Price is Right." Once again,
absolutely. He said, "I want the fine sister." That's how it is. You want the fine sister
on my person from The Price is Right. And another thing that's very interesting that just happened maybe a year or two ago, I was playing golf at the Anthony Anderson, Cedric the Entertainer's golf tournament. And every night before the tournament, we have a pairing party and a fundraiser and everything. And it was so much fun, and it always is. A lot of celebrities and people come. And Eric Benet happened to be at one of the parties, and I had never met him before. I always admired him and thought, he's so fun and he can sing and everything. So they had a little performance, and Cedric, everybody was on stage singing, having a good time. And when Eric got off, I introduced myself. I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Hi, I'm Kathleen Bradley. I'm so glad to meet you." He said, "I know who you are." He said, "You used to be my heartthrob. I used to just love watching you on The Price is Right." He said, "You just don't know." I was like, "Oh, man." He's like, "I know who you are." I'm like, and just to hear things, but we know about him and his little sex drive. I know he was thinking, well, I don't know how many times he made love to me. I wish I was there.
Okay. Okay. Yes. You were not there. But
didn't you say you went to? Did you go to The Price is Right? Oh, didn't you say you?
No, I went to Let's Make a Deal. That was
Let's Make a Deal. Okay.
Yeah, I was in Let's Make a Deal. They had to put the Yankee sticker on there. Now, what's the name? The black guy.
Wayne
Brady.
Wayne Brady. Yeah, Wayne Brady. He was funny there, and I never.
The Price is Right just isn't the same without Bob anymore. It just really isn't. Never has been. Drew Carey, he had big shoes to fill. He just couldn't really step into them right. Like the whole thing is just. I only watch it with no sound on it. It carries over from my morning show. That's the reason. I'm not interested.
So my question becomes now, I had another question, a follow-up question, was what is your take on Meghan Markle, where she made her ascension basically from Deal No Deal, and she went there and got into acting into Suits and then became a princess, per se?
Oh, well, a lot of actresses and women start out like in pageantry and start out modeling and doing things, and you go on to acting and your careers blossom. Those are all stepping stones. It was something very visual that she was doing. And, she always said that, when we'll take pretty much any damn thing as models and people when we're coming into the business, and just be blessed to be able to do that and be seen by millions of people every day, regardless of pretty much what's going on, as long as it's in TV and a nice little show and what have you. So I think, it's commendable of her. She was just going through the modeling phase and doing that on Deal or No Deal. And then she happened to be on Suits. And from that, she did a few other things. And who knew she was going to marry Harry?
Who knew?
Okay.
Who knew?
I'm happy for her. God bless her.
Yeah, but you get those early experiences, and they kind of groom you and get you ready for the like Kathleen said, they're stepping stones. And she's obviously a really smart lady. So she took every single little opportunity and probably paid attention and watched and learned and grew into what she is now.
That's true.
One of the reasons why I asked that question, because it was actually pertaining to both of you, because you had, you still have the restaurant?
I don't right now. I'm in
Okay.
Texas right now. I opened it. I'm in West Texas. I'm near the Panhandle.
Woo!
And
Okay. What was that?
I have a couple of properties. I'm doing
Okay.
Airbnb. So I'm still in the hospitality industry. So
Okay.
I'm renovating the second house, getting this all off the ground, and then I'll be back to LA to finish up my restaurant endeavors. We're going to downsize. Kathleen Bradley, she was so supportive and was always commenting on my pictures. She always came. She always
Honey, that food was good. Let me tell you, all you vegans out there and meat eater carnivores, it will change your mind. This pizza she made one time, I'm telling you, it was orgasmic. It's made from jackfruit. That pizza. My husband and I, she had this at one particular restaurant. It's like a restaurant road. You pull up and you can make your
You
order.
talking about the ghost kitchen?
The drive-through. She had that pizza. We were going to take it home to the family and eat it and everything. So my husband was driving. I had the pizza. I said, let me taste a little bit. It smells so good. We started eating.
In the
I
car.
gave him a bite. We had another pizza. I damn near, when we got home, we almost didn't have no pizza for the family. I'm telling you, it was so good. Oh,
I loved it though. I did it for 7 years, and I got to just explore another side of me. I'm not afraid to step into different shoes and put on different hats.
Me too.
That's what I was gonna say too, because Tabitha Brown, she's a vegan and she has taken off, and done her thing on that. And you two have pivoted a lot. And more than I knew, it's just when I started to do the research and talking with it, and finding out more information about you. You think of Friday and you're like, where did they go? Especially if I'm not in the area, I'm not in California, I'm not in Texas, where are they? And it was cool to see that you guys have pivoted and became a lot of different things. And so initially, the question I wanted to get to is, out of all of the things that you do, like what's most important? Like what is more like, this is Angela?
Mom, just being a mother. My son just recently got his master's degree from USC. He landed.
Congratulations.
Yeah. He's he was a straight A student, 3-4-time All-American. He's still the record holder. He was a quarterback at the University of Miami, where he still holds the all-time leading passing record.
Are you serious? I didn't know he broke the record.
He broke that record and he holds it. And he came back his fourth year,
he would have. It would have been crazy.
He would have had everything. But he's the all-time leading passer. He Vinny Testaverde held it. Bernie Kosar held it. But I think Bradley has held it.
Gino Toretta.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's been my longest job. It's been my most favorite. By the time he was going to school, he was able to read. In preschool, we really calculated, we planned him. So his upbringing was calculated. It was, I'm proud that I disciplined him enough where he understands discipline, but he also understands life and success is about decision-making and thinking. We never told him what to think. We taught him how to think. And put him on a path, and we co-parented, and there was never any of this foolishness. Now you can't see him unless you do this. There was never any of that. There was, bickering amongst ourselves, but we loved him more than we disliked one another. And he had a clear path. And right now, he's with one of the biggest producers on the planet. And it's a show. They got 8-episode commitment just off of a pitch, and I'm just extremely proud of him. I'm proud of his dad, and I'm proud of myself. So that's been my greatest role to date.
Awesome, because that leads right into the next one. Now you had a bit on Def Jam, and you were like, I was at the club stinking, and you wasn't. You was like, who was that? Oh yeah, I told you.
Someone had borrowed the premise is, if you're going to borrow something from somebody, bring it back like you got it. Because one of my friends borrowed a shirt, and she brought it back to me dirty, put it in the plastic and everything, had it on a hanger. She brought me back to shirt. So I put it on, went to the club, her funk started resonating with my funk. And I'm like, hey, party over here. Damn, somebody stank.
Right.
Yeah. So
You remember that?
yeah, but my question, because when you kept on going, you was like, ew, the guy trying to talk to me, ew. And then you said, he played for who? Oh, this is what he played for. What? And you said, oh, party. And I wanted to ask you because I knew that your son was a professional football player and played at a high level in college. Was your significant other? Did he play professionally?
See, jokes are jokes. Like half of this stuff was jokes. His father, I picked him as a father. I was.
Oh, whoa. We're not glossing over that. What you mean you picked him? Like
he was a writer. He was a writer. You know, part of being a good parent is picking a good co-parent. And I knew his upbringing, his commitment to a lot of things, his discipline. You know, he was really committed to his writing career. He did a couple of films, and now he's remarried and he has a thriving company. So he was a writer. He was, you know, cute little writer, and he taught me a lot about story. He's the one that told me, because my agents passed on Felecia. And then I was like, read this, honey. Tell me what you think. And he's a structural genius. Like so no, I didn't have no kids with no athletes or nobody trying to be on the scene. I was the one on the scene. So I needed somebody to have my back.
All right.
So my question, then you said you picked him. So you're saying that he had like you picked him out. Y'all didn't have like a romance. You're like, no, we gonna have a kid together because we are making great friends. Like,
it's deep. It's deep. Like when I write or things that I do, I get these downloads. And the minute that I saw him, I laid eyes on him. I was like, "Oh my God, that's my baby daddy."
That's not your husband. Like I'm gonna marry him. Like no,
right. I did that with my husband. Second,
yeah. When you know, you know. When you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
When you know,
it was the vibe I was looking for. It was the look that I was looking for. It was the perfect. I mean, I'm a writer. That's what I do. I started in this business as a comedian. I wrote all of my material. I'm a writer. And so to couple with him, we had projects together. We created some great stuff together. And the ultimate creation is a life. Yeah. So I couldn't create it. What was I going to create with and hey, women married to professional athletes,
they do.
Hey, do your thing, girl. But it just wouldn't have worked for me.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But it's all on an individual basis too. There may have been somebody to come along that, you know, would have co-parented the way that Brad Sr. did. But Brad Sr. was just chef's kiss. He was just, and still to this day, he's amazing. Yeah, he was amazing father. And I knew he would be. Look!
Hey,
you have an intruder.
I see.
Come and say hi.
Welcome to the party.
Hey, you know.
Speaking of offsprings, oh my sweet Juno bug, huh, Juno?
Hi,
Juno. Is this your daughter? Is this your daughter's?
No, this is my son Terrence's daughter. My son Terrence, Sir Reddington. Speaking of entertainers, he's a rapper and producer and different things of that nature too. So
he's got some fire.
What is productions?
And my tooth is coming out. Look.
Okay.
You gotta get some money for that tooth, huh?
You gotta get some money. That's $150. That's $150 right there.
Okay.
Bye. See you later.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Okay. You already had them.
She got them Felisha braids, Miss
She got them all day long.
Absolutely.
Okay. Juno,
Kathleen, for your children, did you guide them into what you wanted, or did you allow them to choose their path? Because you were also a singer, you know, starting out in the beginning and all those things.
Well, actually, I have to back up a bit. My daughter Cheyenne, whose father is Bill Overton, he's now married to Jane Kennedy, who she and I are very good friends, by the way. That's another story. But when we had Cheyenne, I was a single parent, but he was always present in her life, and as well as Jane. And we had a lot of good mothers and sisters and backup, and the village was very prominent in our lives. So, she actually was very defiant when she was young. and she had a bit of attention deficit disorder, and I was kind of real busy in my life when as a young parent, and I wasn't really that hard or stern on her about school. She did go to one of the best preschools here in Los Angeles, Taylor Tots, and that school is so very hard to get in. As a matter of fact, I think it was Natalie Cole or Vanessa Williams or somebody, they wanted to put their child in that school, and they were filled up. They wouldn't even take them in. Glenn Turman's children went there, Michael Beaches, and a lot of other kids. But Cheyenne, she just didn't want to do the work. She was so resistant, and I don't know exactly why. I think I might contribute it to a couple of those Long Island iced teas I had when I was pregnant.
When you was pregnant, holy!
What they say is true. Don't drink and be pregnant. That shit will mess up. I believe that this day, and or it could have been when I went to see Poltergeist. I was scared shitless. Endorphins messed her up. So she has a very good excuse why she was the way she was.
You're funny. I didn't realize.
Holy moly! But you know, I had a couple of, it's like 7 different alcohols in that drink.
She's grown to be a wonderful, beautiful young lady. We wanted her to go to college. She didn't want to. Not everybody goes to college. Our son, he went to college for a little while. My husband's a mechanical engineer and an energy engineer. He went to UCLA. And we really wanted our son to kind of follow in his footsteps. We kind of gave them options, but he did. My son, Terrence, now Sir Reddington, he watched me when I was with the singing group, The Love Machine.
The Love Machine.
Yeah, we traveled in the early 70s in Italy, Germany, Spain, Belgium, Sweden,
all over the world.
All over the world for years and years. We were with Motown. And we regrouped after a while in the 90s, and that's when my son was able to really see and grasp the group. And we were still we performing again at Mavericks Flats and different things. And he was like always at rehearsal, and he was just in awe of the group. So he just kind of picked it up, that portion of it from me. And he works with us now. We have a company. It is called the R Group Energy Services Consulting, and it's a home-based business. And he's a manager for different projects. But his heart really, really lies in the music industry. And we've kind of met a few people recently that we're hopeful will get him and put him on the map. That's one of the things I said before I die. I'm gonna see my child either getting a hip hop award, getting an Emmy award, getting a Grammy.
That's right. Hey, we got some connections. We got some connections on KROSS BARZ. You never know. You never know. We got
some of these other little nappy-headed Negroes out here talking and rapping ain't crap compared to my baby.
There we go. There we go. There we go. So now when we start thinking about you guys going to other ventures, I actually thought it would be a great idea if you guys pitched to Meghan Markle, because you have a restaurant. You are actually the trailblazer, Ms. Bradley, by actually saying, "Oh yeah, I was this, and then I was this, and then I transitioned to this, and this is what I have going on." So now when you start finding people who have multiple talents, because that's why I actually find that people who are in art, if you can act, you usually could sing. If you could sing, you usually could dance. And if you could dance, you probably could draw. And now, I start seeing, that you when you see people who are in the arts, it's like they're multifaceted. And so that's why I was like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, y'all need to talk to one another. And then on top of that, I was like, I just started a raw food diet, and I wanted to talk about this vegan stuff because I'm trying to get to sort of sexy because like really.
You want to wear your bikini for the summer?
Nobody knows this, but us three, us four, is that she wiped off the screen in the beginning. I wish we had that. She got a 6-pack under there. That's one thing. I was like, tight. That's what I was looking at.
Real fast, baby. That was more like
that looked like I saw the lines. I'm like, I wish I could get a line in my stomach. I'm like, oh my God. So that's why I was like, man, you guys, and I'm craving pizza so bad, but it's like, okay, I just want to do this for a week. And I'm looking at all this stuff, and I said, man, but I couldn't wait to talk to you guys because I already see that y'all eating good because you look good. And now we got to talk about, when is the last Friday coming out, and why is it taking so long? Because it seems like everyone I spoke to, everyone wants to do it, and everyone wants to see it.
Well, as far as I've just heard and been reading, and it is legit that they've finally come to an agreement to do the last Friday. I don't know what the script's going to be like. I've seen Cube a few times. I actually did his video. That's My Ego, probably about it was in July last year, as a matter of fact. And we talked a little bit about it. Mike Epps was there. He was in the video. But Cube, he's always saying that New Line Cinema and all those people just didn't want to do the script that he wanted to have. And somebody told me that the script was more based on some of his guys or the friends, they were in prison or something, getting out. I don't know. And you might have heard about it too, Felicia, yeah. Angela. And so it's kind of still up in the air, but they finally did sign an agreement, and it's going to happen. There is in the pre-production right now. And I just hope, and everybody's hoping and praying that we're in it. That
I
at
hope
least.
So.
Craig's mama, Anna Marie. I saw her the other day. And the women. I think there's gonna be too much testosterone running around. He's always
wasn't DC Young Fly supposed to be in it too?
I
seen something with DC Young Fly supposed to be Chris Tucker's son. I seen a picture with that on there.
I think there's just a whole bunch of rumors right now. Like you said, isn't that? It's all just rumors until the contracts are signed and then the press releases come out. So it's all just speculation.
He's got the deal. He
has the deal, but none of who's coming back and we
don't know that. That's for sure. The script, that's
right. That's what I'm saying. It's all speculation. But I would hope that if they invited Felicia back, that she has turned her life around.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would say that that Debo kept her pregnant for 10 years straight.
Oh my God.
And that they have birthed an entire defensive line. And she is now a baller, a NFL mom. And that if they get out of jail, they're going to need some money to start their little businesses. And who are they going to come back to get their little money when they get out of jail? And she's going to have her moment when she says, remember, I told you I was going to remember that. But I hope that she's, and she stays in the hood, and she got this house that she done put $3 million into on the same block. Her house is blinged out, and she love her people. She's not going anywhere.
But
she and Miss Parker got an affair going on. We married.
Right.
They would love to see that.
People always get married.
Is it true?
She married Miss Parker. She got Miss
Parker. Smokey married Miss Parker. Yeah.
No, Smokey in jail.
Oh no, don't
Felicia, me and Felicia got married.
Okay, goodness. Yeah. Okay, that's
so
different.
Miss Kathleen, is it really true that it was?
Exactly.
Is it really true, Miss Kathleen, that it was really your house that was really across the street? I heard that from someone.
No. That's not my house. No.
Okay.
I heard that somewhere.
Miss Kathleen got a house, y'all.
Yeah. So now, if we look at the Friday the franchise, it was just so many people, and now it's so long since the end. We lost some people along the way.
Yeah.
And so that was always the thing that I always felt sad because rest in peace, John Witherspoon. He actually kept on saying, "Man, we had to hurry up and have this." I seen him on a couple of interviews talking about having it, and now he has since passed. And I'm like, "Come on, bro, y'all can get it there." But I don't feel like it should be a movie because I was pitching that like maybe a year, 2 years ago. Now, when I really thought about it, it should be a series because it has too many storylines. So now you had so many storylines and deviations. You had you and your Nia Long. That relationship wasn't on.
Yeah.
But Bernie Mac and praying with Miss Parker. You know what I mean? Then you had Smokey and his mom because the community was diverse. Even
exactly.
What's her name? Megan Good getting ice cream. It was so many people.
Big Worm.
Big Worm.
I wanted to see them stay. I would have preferred. I love the next one and the next one, Friday after next.
I didn't like none of them.
What?
Except
y'all were the best.
In the neighborhood. and brought all these different characters into the neighborhood. And I believe that we should have been able to see these characters that we fell in love with the neighborhood.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why
Yes.
Friday was so successful. It was that neighborhood. And the other projects, they were what they were, but they never came close to the first one because everyone fell in love with his dynamic, his world. And once we went out of his world, it was like, okay, it was just the funny characters. It was Money Mike, it was Suge, you know, Sugar, and Pinky. You know, it was just these caricatures. But the story in the heart of Friday is that neighborhood.
That is very true.
Yeah, and I think we lost a lot. And I would just hope that they wrap the series up in that neighborhood. And like you said, we get to see, you know, Smokey's mom, who's still with us. We get to, you know, talk about, and we get to see, you know, what happens with Felecia. You know, Felicia's a real person in the neighborhood. That's a real person. We can't, you know, we can't hope that she stays the same. You know, we want to see what happens with these relationships. We want to see how Mr. Parker deals with his wife. Like, we want to see them together and how they come to terms with everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That.
So I
just left people hungry for that, not the Friday and all this over the top.
That's right. All the other hoopla stuff. Because I mentioned to Cube when I saw him at John Weatherspoon's funeral, I said, you know, which would be a really good punchline or something to have for the next one, Cube, that Mr. and Mrs. Parker, my little Tony, we got back together and we had a son. We had a child. I introduced our baby child around the neighborhood, and the baby looked just like Bernie Mac.
That would have been good.
Black as could be.
Oh my God.
Just like Bernie Mac.
And next door neighbor, Mr. Stanley, he turns into Kevin Samuels. You know, he was a single man.
Exactly. And then we see Pooh's character develop, and you know, now he's
manager at UPS.
And now he's the manager.
Right. Yeah.
That's what the story was. It wasn't, you know,
little boy kicking over the trash cans, working for him at UPS.
Exactly.
Could be.
Exactly. So when they took it out of that neighborhood, I think it lost a lot.
Oh, it did. It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. They've already talked about it, for them to be able to bring the last one back to close it out, to even come close to the first one, because the other two, they just were.
And you know what would have been cool?
They could have been called something else. Hell.
You know what would have been cool too is a prequel, a Thursday.
A Thursday.
If we had done Thursday right afterwards.
So how Felisha got that way? Where was her parents?
Yeah, that would
why they going there? Why Stanley was single? Like, why Stanley was single? You know what I mean? What happened to Smokey's dad? You know, so the prequel. Why Debo came around there? He wasn't going to the my God! I never thought of that. That would be
cool. That's so. Is that why you kind of
Miss Parker? How she end up with her husband? Absolutely.
How she end up with the preacher?
No. We figured out that.
Oh yeah, I was going to church now because we was praying.
Right?
Yeah,
we was praying.
We was praying after everybody left. I was in the choir member, the last one to leave. I didn't see here.
And we see Felicia's family's we see their microwave blow up.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like somebody in the neighborhood asking to borrow your microwave, like all the stuff that would lead up to it, and that would just give the audience so much to chew on, as opposed to all this new stuff that they have to navigate with this series. You know,
and you just said it was a series. You're absolutely right. That's why I feel it's too much to cover. You have a 3-hour movie, so you need
everyone's gone now. Everyone's aged. You'll never recapture lightning in a bottle.
True.
Unless you capped it, and they didn't cap it. It overflowed. I mean, we went to Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, really. Thank you.
That was the worst of the franchise.
And
it was the worst.
And the dad didn't want to lose his house over $3,000. And me and my partner were sitting there. We were investors. It's like, why don't he just refinance? Like, he owns the house, but he only owes $3,000, and he about
in logical terms, right?
Right, and he got all this equity in there, So it was like we're not educating anymore. We don't have the lessons anymore. Like at the end of Friday, there was a huge lesson that Spoon, he was like, you know, live to fight another day.
Yeah.
I didn't see any lessons in the next ones. Like I just feel like we missed such a humongous opportunity.
Absolutely.
And why, you know, why it happened, it just did. But I'm just happy to be a part of the first one. And it's something that no matter what I say, no matter what I do, you are never going to take that from me. Right. I walk into a room and you hear whispers and people like double take. I was in New York. My hair was cut real short. I had on black glasses crossing the street. And a young lady was coming towards me. And when she got right at earshot, she was like, I know who you are. I was in Italy. And on the screen, in a club on the screen, they were playing Friday. I was in Germany. Somebody came to me, was talking, Felicia. You're never going to take that from me, no matter where you take this franchise. You know, we were lightning in a bottle. We are part of not just Black history, not just Black cinema. We are part of something global. And that's where the humbleness comes in and the gratitude. And I think all of us feel that way from, you know, you think about it, Mrs. Parker, Felecia, Debo, Big Worm, Ezel. That was the core.
Yeah.
You know, but and
so
Ezel
now
is gone.
Yeah, I know. It's many people that's associated, you know, that passed away. And now when we start looking at, you know, now when you introduce Thursday, and hopefully you can do a series, I just didn't understand. Like, all right, we could have been did something. Yeah, okay, they had the franchise, but you could have built on it in a different way. But that's neither here nor there. Now let's just talk about originally, because we didn't even talk around your background. All right, so where are both of you from? Because I heard you say New York, and then you said Texas, but where are you originally from? This means.
I'm from the Midwest. I was born in New York, and I stayed there for a short. My mother was a nightclub singer, and she didn't have no time for she had no time for no babies, and she sent me to the family farm, which I'm so grateful for. That you know, I got my work ethic and my ability to pivot.
So wait. You was born in New York and spent probably small years. What part? Bronx, Queens?
Queens. I was born in Queens General. 50 Cent, Play was born there.
You from South? Oh, you
funkin' for Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica,
Jamaica, Queens. Right.
No.
Right.
Okay,
yeah,
so you went from Jamaica, Queens, if any of y'all don't know,
to Dirt Road, to Milan, Michigan, right outside of Ann Arbor.
Oh,
and we raised. It was a 200-acre farm. We raised cattle, livestock, and we also we grew soybean for the plant. We grew feed corn for the rest of the farmers in the community. And my uncle was just this great. I took after him, and thank God, like he was multifaceted. He was a photographer. He was a skilled machinist. He worked graveyard at the Ford plant. So when the line broke down, he fixed it. He was a farmer. He was a photographer. He did everybody's taxes in this little town.
What?
And he was the pillar of the community. And he did taxes.
Wait. Are you West Indian? I'm just asking.
And he was the barbecue master.
Okay.
So he was everything to me and everybody else in that community.
So do you have West Indian ancestry by any chance?
No.
Okay. Because you know that's the only people I know that work like that. Like I was a barber, I was a dealer, I used to grow cucumbers. I'd be like, yo, dog, you missed
No,
that. Okay.
I think he had a little ADA. I think he would have a little ADD.
Okay, ADD. All right.
Yeah, and everything that he did, I eventually did myself. So
okay. Now, Ms. Bradley, I have to ask you this because man, it was on my mind. Okay, you said your ex-husband is married to Jane Kennedy?
Right, exactly.
Oh my God!
You didn't know that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Whoa. Because I'm like, he was fine. Okay. He got a type. Fine is the type.
Yeah, and definitely have that type.
But Kathleen is still the GOAT, so don't let
listen.
You gotta give her that.
Listen, you were on a farm. There's goats, there's chickens, there's hens. Hey man,
we're talking about the greatest of all time.
I know. Awesome. Thank you guys. You know, yeah, I'm from the Midwest, Youngstown, Girard, Ohio. Jane from Cleveland, but I came out to LA in the 1970s, and you know, had a really good life after with pageantry and traveling and what have you. And then my second husband, though, get this. My husband I'm married to today, he was married to Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times.
Thelma.
And then a small world after all. They have a child.
Wow.
So that's a little storyline right there, huh?
So I'm just putting it in my head.
You know that Kathleen has a book. She's got her autobiography that's available. So all these
the backstage is the backstage. Is that the one that has all the information and all that?
That's right. Backstage at The Price is Right. Memoirs of a Barker Beauty.
Okay, we got to do this because right now I'm just putting. What was you a Jet Beauty by any chance? Were you a Jet Beauty?
Yes, I was a Jet Beauty.
Okay, because I'm just putting it out here. I'm like, wait a minute, I think.
I was a Jet. That's how I met Jane actually with Lamont McLemore from the 50 Mention. Of course, we did all of the Jet Beauty shots and photos, and she and I.
Oh my God, I had a wall. Oh my God, this is crazy.
I was in the one. I got who was on?
I'm a connoisseur. I'm a Jet Beauty connoisseur.
You know who was on my front cover was Louis Gossett. And
younger with the hair.
He's from where I'm from. Yeah,
I forget the girl who was ever. I think she's one of the Olympic runners. I was in that issue.
Okay.
I do want to say this too, because you as a writer and you're writing a book, and both of you all have written books. When your creative process, when you're writing the book, yes, you got yours, and it's scary. It's scary. I've seen that. It's like a horror or something like that.
But we'll talk about my book right quick.
Right. And you owe me a book because I bought your book and I ended up giving it to my niece, Felisha. Angela.
So Miss Kathleen, I want to talk about you singing because I didn't know that Rock Steady song that Taraji P. Henson sang and I Could Do Bad by Myself. Is that your original song that you guys sang with your group?
No, I wish it was. You know, Rocksteady. That's Aretha Franklin. But I did do Rocksteady when I was with the Love Machine. I was pretty much like the lead singer. There were 7 girls who did that. And then you know what is so wonderful? We didn't start the group. It was formulated in the early 70s, 71. And I was in the group for like 8 years. But the person, John Daniels, who formulated from Maverick Flat here, he took us all over the world. And we were able to perform in a lot of nice venues and in front of Tom Jones, Sammy Davis Jr. We traveled a lot. And we did some of the European TV shows. And you know, back then you didn't have your little video cameras and access to pictures and stuff like we have today. And that was one thing I always regretted, that we did not have the opportunity to film or tape ourselves. But thank God there are many people who were back in that day and time were either affiliated, associated with the television show that we did, that have posted online are actually full shows of our shows when we did like 8 or 9 songs, or we did 2 or 3 songs and with our little outfits on and different things. And when I was like, oh my God, the memories just flowed back. I didn't think I was ever going to see that or recapture that moment, because we never really had the opportunity to do that. But there's several out there. If people want to Google Kathleen Bradley and The Love Machine, and you'll see a lot of
and you know what's the trick about that era with Kathleen is that they're all friends, like her, Aretha Franklin, Smokey Robinson, Jane, all of them. They're like a group.
You didn't run into any like racial things? Did you guys didn't run into that like back then and you're traveling?
No, it was wonderful. It was only when we came home, like, you know, when men are in the service and you come back home and you get the treatment. But not so much here in California anyway that we have issues and problems like that. But it was wonderful going to Europe. We spent probably out of a year, we spent probably 7 months in Europe. Traveling, maybe, and sometimes 4 months at a time, take a month or 2 weeks off and come back here. We'd work in Las Vegas at times, from time to time, but most of the time that we spent on the road was in Europe, and it was just absolutely wonderful. You could feel the love.
You never
Nope.
thought about a solo career or nothing in music?
I
on
thought
your
about it, and
own?
I kind of did a little bit when I got back out. But actually, after I left the Love Machine, I got with another group called Destination. Two girls and a guy, Danny Lugo, and that was in the '80s, and we did a remake of Curtis Mayfield's "Move On."
Yeah.
It was the da 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 da. It's a real hard, heavy hitting beat from the disco era that they played in all the nightclubs. It was really magnified. And we actually traveled around singing with Butterfly Records, MCA Butterfly Records. Something in my throat. But anyway, we're on the Billboard top 10 hits with that the song that we did. Excuse me.
I mean, you think about all of the history that is encapsulated in that film Friday. From Kathleen Bradley to Anne-Marie Horsford to LaWanda Page. Myself, all the things that but those folks go way back. You know, I mean, LaWanda Page, just think about the entertainment history that she brought to Friday. So when I met her, I was, because I'm a stand-up. And so when I saw her, I got really starstruck.
Where did that come from? Because I'm listening.
And she was eating, and I walked up to her, and I was like, "Hi, Miss Page. Do you think I could get do you think I could get an autograph?" And she looked at me. She was like, "Can't you see I'm eating, bitch?" And I was like, yes, ma'am. And then she was still sharp. And she found me later on. She said, "Now what the fuck you want me to sign?" And I was like, "I just want you to sign." I was like, "Sign my hand. I don't care." It was like, but she was like, "Can't you see I'm eating, bitch?" And I was like, and then I tried to chit chat with her because I hosted a female show at the at not Maverick Square, but what was the other place around the corner?
Total Experience, maybe the apartment.
Regency West.
Regency West. Okay.
Regency West. Yeah, in Lamert. And I hosted a female show, and she was a special guest, and I brought her on stage, and it was just like, I still get the chills. Like I introduced the Wanda Page. It still blows my mind. I'm from dirt roads. And I worked, but that's just a testament. I worked my ass off to get to that point. And so she did a joke. She was like, she came up and the first thing out her mouth, she was like, "Is the hoes in this town making any money?" What? And so somebody said something. She was like, "How you know, bitch? You a hoe?" So she say something else, and 2 minutes later she was like, "Is the hoes in this town?" And I was like, "Uh-oh, she in trouble," because she started But everyone was just so in awe. Like I opened up for Jimmy Walker once, and who I'm surprised wasn't in Friday. Like I'm really surprised Jimmy Walker wasn't in Friday some kind of way. But I opened up for him once. He was so unfunny. He was not funny at all.
So unfunny.
Like, he was
unfunny. Wow.
He was unfunny. He was the reverse of funny. He turned funny inside out. I was just like, this Negro is not funny. But he didn't bomb because of who he like everyone was just hanging on his he came out, he was dogging the sisters, he was pulling their hair. Like he literally pulled one lady's wig off. And everyone was just, because it was him, because we fell in love with these people. And that was the difference between the 70s and where we are now. Like the 70s, because there's so much to offer now. Like when Kathleen was coming up, it was limited. So you really, really enjoyed and you squoze everything out of those characters. But now it's just like,
more variety and
there's so much
competitive.
Who's your inspiration, Ms. Kathleen? Who's somebody that inspired you to do, what you do? Somebody that nobody knows. You know what I mean? Somebody don't know. Like I didn't know that about LaWanda Page and you. Like we want to know something that we don't know, and you haven't.
I've always loved Lena Horne for one person. I think that
okay.
kind of inspired me,
The
and
icon.
because
Gotcha.
of her beauty and her looks and her ability. And my mom always used to like her. My mother was a beautiful lady, and she was one person that I always liked and admired. And just, I guess coming up and being in the industry, anybody that had made a mark for themselves in this world and was a performer and had a name out there, I liked and I admired. But, as I got a little older and a little more mature and having been in the business, I had more respect for them because I realized what it really takes to be able to be noticed, to be have notoriety rather, and to be somewhat famous in this business. And just think about all that it had taken them to be able to get to the point in their career that they were at. So I have a variety of people that I do admire. Tina Turner being one of them, especially.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was two people that they aged so gracefully because they were baddies way
Before the
before
baddies.
the baddie existed.
Hard work.
Before this thing even existed, they were the prototype. So absolutely. So this part of the show, I do this thing called this or that, and I'm going to say one thing or another. And my whole premise is to make the question so difficult that you can't choose and you got to say both. So I'm just gonna give you an easy one. So, so I'm gonna give you an easy one, right? So if I say oatmeal or grits, which one?
Grits.
You can also say neither.
Okay.
So you can say
Oatmeal.
oatmeal, grits, or
Oatmeal.
you say
Grits with salt, pepper, cheese, and sugar.
No?
Ooh,
sugar and grits.
And sugar.
salt and sugar.
You said
And
sugar and
sugar.
grits. Oh,
Yeah.
you might get canceled.
Right. That's such a big deal, but I do all of it.
All right, I ain't gonna
salad.
defend. I
You
ain't gonna
can't
defend
ask her
nobody
any
for that.
food questions. Come on.
Okay, no food question. Oh, God. Okay, so now Midwest. All right, here we go. Ohio State or USC?
USC.
USC. Nah, well, I'll say Ohio State. I live right down from USC. But
Oh no, I got another one for you.
Okay.
See, I'm trying to be
They get too
fair.
cocky.
Look. See, that's why I said Ohio State because one coming from you. Yeah, you is gonna be Michigan or Miami.
Oh, you can't ask me that. That was so hard. That was so hard for me because I grew up in Ann Arbor. There was University of Michigan. There's U of M and then there's UM. But I'm
yeah, you can say both.
Oh, that's a push. It's not a neither, but that's a push.
That's
Both.
There you
Both.
go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me get it. Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Do Jordan.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right.
That's our era.
Okay, that's your area. Okay, I'm gonna start messing with y'all now. Patti LaBelle or Aretha Franklin?
Aretha Franklin.
Aretha. Yeah.
I'm from Detroit, so
Okay, yeah, I got you. I understand. See, I'm asking a question based on where you are in proximity to what you said. So now watch this: Kendrick or Drake?
oh,
Drake.
Drake. I'm gonna go with the mixed kid.
I'm going with Drake.
I'm gonna go with you, boy.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Michelle Obama or Oprah Winfrey?
Michelle Obama.
Wow. That's a tough one. I might go with Oprah because she kind of set the precedence for women of her stature who admired her, and Michelle Obama was from the school of Oprah, to be very honest. Okay. And though she formulated herself at a certain point in level, but Oprah opened the door for so many women in the industry that, and did so much for so many other women of color and women in period.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a serious both. But the one thing about Michelle Obama was that she was able to juggle so much stuff and display Black family.
Absolutely.
Like she showed us how to do family.
Yeah,
she showed us how to.
Yeah. As I said, some of them gonna be easy, some of them gonna be a little difficult. Now,
Yeah,
this
but
Have you-
Oprah,
have
you
you
know
met- have
that
you-
was apples and oranges.
okay, I'm gonna give you
okay.
one that's probably both of you will figure is gonna be very difficult. Maya Angelou or Nikki Giovanni?
Ooh.
Nikki Giovanni, just to name a few. I like Nikki Giovanni. I'm from back in that day and that era, you know, when she was just popular and from the 70s and the Flower Child and poetry and all that. So
I'm gonna go with Miss Maya.
Okay.
She was so profound, and she had come through so much and had just really embodied a lot. And I just saw a clip of her where she corrected a young lady who called her Maya, and she said,
I saw that.
you
Yeah,
saw
that?
that?
Absolutely.
And
as she was supposed to.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she was about she shared her story in a way that she gave lessons every time she spoke. It was a lesson, and it wasn't so much art, but it was she humanized a lot of stuff.
A true educator, a true teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, let's stay in keep it real difficult. Tyler Perry or Spike Lee?
Tyler Perry.
I'm gonna go with Spike.
I'm going with Tyler.
All right.
Yeah. They're both mavericks. They both pulled themselves up out the mud.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah. But Spike, I feel, is more my contemporary and just did so many things. And I liked how Spike kept a group of actors working from project to project. That's what I loved about him. I love seeing these. Yeah, I love seeing how these particular actors could recycle it. Yeah, they could go into different characters. It's like God, you really got to see the art of acting through these actors, because they became different people, and you didn't see the person at all. That he just had such a great group of actors, and it really made you fall in love with the craft if you were an actor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy or Dave Chappelle?
Eddie Murphy.
All
day long.
I mean, come on, man. Eddie's a rock star.
I'm not denying.
I used to date Eddie. I dated Eddie.
I was about to say, have you guys
he's the one that got me,
Eddie? Or
he's the one that got me in Harlem Nights to perform in Harlem Nights.
Wow.
And actually, when I did Harlem Nights, I was like 3 months pregnant with my son Terrence. So I was really going to almost play the part of that Layla Rashawn played, but
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Very familiar.
I was showing a little bit and everything. So, but I had the opportunity to do that, and known him for a long time and his family. But he's such a genius. I love not all of his movies, but when he did the franchise with the Clumps. I'm telling you, he really set a precedence for having that makeup artist and the different characters at the table. And that movie, the first one and the other one, I even like Norbit. I love him.
Norbit. You don't like it?
No.
I'm the child.
Respucia.
No, not Norbit. That was
I love Norbit.
Okay.
It's funny. It's really funny.
Yeah. Okay. Now we get into some easier ones.
Okay.
All right. We want to talk about filmography. All right. Oh my God. Tom Hanks or Denzel Washington?
I ain't even gonna answer that.
No, me either.
Stop playing.
Listen. They played the one together. They won. Philadelphia is an awesome one. Okay. I said some were easy. Some were. Okay.
She got the.
But you see, I've had this.
Yeah,
I've had this since about a year after he signed it. We took the plastic off. So this is what made me fall in love with him. And
what? Not the Soldier Story?
No, this is
Glory.
Yeah, I know, but you said like you waited that long? Like you wasn't like before that? Okay.
This is where he really showed what he could do. Was in this film. He became you didn't even see Denzel anymore.
Yeah,
a
my
lot of
husband,
art.
my husband
That's
was
the
in the
art to
Soldier
that.
Story, one of the originals with
Oh, wow.
the one here in Los Angeles at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. Of course, it started
Oh,
in
that's awesome.
New York, but he was in the one with what's the older guy who died? Who was, oh my God, I can't think of his name. The
James
actor.
Earl Jones.
Huh?
James
No.
Earl Jones.
No, I forget his name.
Sidney
I have to think
Poitier?
about the little older guy who was like the sergeant.
Oh,
and
the chubby, yeah, the chubby guy. Yeah, we got the
Adolf Caesar.
yeah, Adolf Caesar. Adolf
Adolf
Caesar.
Caesar.
And Denzel and Bill, my husband, they were in the play together. Art Evans, all these guys. And I would go to the theater. I was pregnant then with my first daughter, Cheyenne. Bill and I were having Cheyenne. And all the cast and crew and everything. I was like 8 months pregnant. And I had the baby actually during the time they were in the play. That's when I met Denzel and kind of knew him on that level. And since then, he's always remembered that. And when I see him and what have you, and Pauletta. But, such wonderful people. He has come such full circle that in a sense of his spirituality, I think he's always been a God-fearing man, but now the older he gets, he's more saying certain things and inspiring more young people and being more God-like and just being, really into that, because he goes to the church down here, the one Angelus church that a lot of people have gone to before. But he's such a wonderful guy, and raised such good family, and they're so talented as well.
His
and Tom Hanks
children,
as well.
His children is awesome. So now I'm gonna give you just a few more, and I want to see where you guys are at. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
No Trekkies. Okay.
No, Star Wars is one of the examples. If you there's a book called Man of a Thousand Faces. It's Joseph Campbell, and it's classic story writing. And Star Wars is one of the films that's considered structurally perfect, where the hero gets called to action, he denies it, then something happens that forces him to the call to adventure. Every act break is structurally perfect. It's just like the Wizard of Oz. It's the exact same thing. They get called to this adventure, something happens, the mentor dies at the act break. I mean, it's a when you follow this structure, I mean, even Gone with the Wind, but Star Wars is one of the Star Wars is a perfectly written script, and that's why it's subliminal. You don't know why you love it, but it's the psychological. So
it was so ahead of its time as well the special effects and everything. We never really seen a lot of the different flying and the ships and just the whole essence of it all. Oh wow, look at you, girl.
If you are a storyteller and you really want to get really into your thing, get this.
The hero with 1,000 faces.
This is where you start. This is where you start your storytelling journey.
Okay, so still 1,000 pages. That you kind of threw me off with that one. I was like,
that's
whoa.
a classic.
Okay, all right. So now what I would say is let's bring it to a conclusion with one of my most important questions, because this is really important to me. Okay.
I know what you're going to say.
Nah.
Okay.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. or Frosted Flakes. Like this is the boy.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, cinnamon,
oatmeal,
and the crunch, and oatmeal.
Oatmeal. No. So now you guys answer like champs. You guys explain some of your rationale and reasoning, because before, when we used to do this, and I used to do this some years ago, and then they say, hey, you doing it like this one. I was like, I was doing this in 03. So I was like, yeah, but at Ruckus Radio. Look, I was doing this in 03. But
I want to tell you about my book right quick.
Please do.
Yes, please.
So I'm a numbers person.
Okay.
I will remember I will remember your number, who you are, what you are. I will remember that. And I started looking at singers, and a lot of singers either were born on a 7-day or died on a 7-day. So a 7-day is the 7th, the 16th, or the 25th, right? So I mean, you can just go back in time. Tupac, Eazy-E, Selena, Left Eye, Bobby DeBarge, Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Michael Jackson, Tupac, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald. You could just, the list goes on. We just lost Dwayne Wiggins on the 7th.
Wow.
So about 20 years ago, we had just lost Lamont Bentley. Lamont Bentley was the dark-skinned kid from Moesha, the real funny one, the real dark one.
Oh, wow.
He died.
Yeah.
This is 25 years ago. He died tragically. He got ejected from his car, and he was part of our friends group. Much like the 70s, I don't know about the 80s, but in the 90s, you know, there was this explosion of Black entertainment, and we were all like cousins. You know, we all just ran the same places. So Lamont Bentley was in my friends group, and after he died, there were 6 of us that were at a friend's apartment, and I looked up Lamont, and I was like, "Oh wow, he's a 7." And everyone was like, "What's a 7?" I said, "Well, there's a lot of musicians who die on a 7-day."
Wow.
And everyone was like, "What am I? What am I? What am I?"
Crazy.
So it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And there was a young lady sitting in the room, and everybody just looked at her. And Spanky Hayes was there. And Spanky was like, if this mofo say 5, not only was she a 5, she was May 5th. She was the 5th month. And it was like something just.
5th day, yeah.
Yeah, so it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and stopped right at 7. And everybody freaked out, and Spanky Hayes was like, forget this voodoo mess. I'm out of here. So he left. And on my drive back to the valley, I was like, this is a plot. This is a plot.
Yeah.
So
I heard that.
there's an angel. It's really, really good. It's one of the best stories that you'll ever read, and it will give you chills. Her whole thing is sacrifice is inevitable. And you know, the royalty, like James Brown died on the 25th. Aretha Franklin was born on the 25th. Michael Jackson died on the 25th. Aaliyah died on the 25th.
Yes.
And sacrifice is inevitable. But the royalty, they were all about the 25th. And who was born on the 25th? The King of Kings. Regardless of when you think he was born, Jesus was born on 25th. So in the end, the angel explains, you know, sacrifice to them. I'm not going to give it away. Yeah. But it's a very, very good book, and everyone who reads it is just like, wow, this is deep, and it's really beautiful, and it's a fast read. It's not that thick, but it's a story that's been with me for 20 years, and I was like, you know what, I got to get this out. And every time I look somebody up, it's like, yep, they died on a 7. They were born in 1970, or you know, I mean, Bob Marley, you know, he died. Nipsey Hussle died on a 7. Bob Marley and Nipsey. So Bob Marley. Wow. I mean, Nipsey was March 31st. So March is a 3, the 31st, 3, and the 1. That's 7. So there's something about the number 7, and I looked that up too. It's connected to music and politics.
There were 7 girls in my singing group, the Love Machine. 7.
Wow.
You had to have 7.
Wait. I want to know, will this help me hit that Mega Millions? Because that's what I really want to know, these numbers. If you could give me the numbers that Mega Millions and that Powerball in the day. Don't give me the right numbers on the wrong day.
Well, I can tell you the winning number, but then I'm going to have to take you out because I'm
don't take me out. We can split it. I'm not selfish. I'm not selfish. I will find you and give you your cut.
So listen, so the book is called 7 Sinners and an Angel Who Loved Them. That's
the angel who loved them.
And the angel who loved them.
This angel controls everything. Like, she's just like Jesus. She has nothing. She's actually a waitress, but she's able to control the biggest names in the music industry by being extremely beautiful. So whoever looks at her sees the most beautiful woman to them. So her face is continuously morphing. Wow. And, you know, you're just mesmerized by her. And you just, you know, she's able to get record deals and get producers. She gets
what do you want
time.
People to get from this book? Like, what do you want? Like, what was your goal of writing this? What are we to get out of it?
That the universe speaks to us in numbers, and that every number represents something. And that there are algorithms in the world, and that sacrifice is inevitable, and wake up, there's more going on
Yes.
than what you're seeing.
Yeah.
You know, peel the layer off, really look at things. It's right in front of us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a 1. You know, I was born on the 19th. My whole birthday, my month is 11. That's, you know, 2 1s standing next to my day is 19. That's a 1. So
Yeah.
I got these 3 1s, and then the year I was born in 1963, that equals a 1. I'm an only child. I did stand up, which is in show business is called being in 1. You know, it's so I'm always finding myself in a I'm always redefining myself. I'm fearless. I can move, and I only go up. Like I'm going, nothing is in front of a 1 except God. So I'm always going up. I don't go to the side. I go upwards. And anybody that you know that's born on the 1st, the 19th, or the 28th, like Denzel is on the 28th. He's a 1. There's nothing in front of him, and he's going straight up. You know, he's. What day are you?
8.
The 8. So weeble wobble, but you don't fall down. You're gonna always get back up. The 8 is infinity. The 8 is money.
Yeah.
So you got
that's what I'm talking about. Say that again so somebody can hear that.
8 represents wealth, and it's also a victory number, and it's infinity. You will go on.
I'm on 1 too. I was 11.
What day are you?
11. And you're
so
11.
If you're the 11th, the royal families did C-sections so their babies could be born on the 11th. The 11th is a master number. It's one of the most mystical, powerful, and you guys together are like magic. And of course, Kathleen is a 1.
My birthday is 110. That's 11. 1
That's
10.
11, which is
1951.
right.
That's why Kathleen Bradley is one of the most famous people on the planet. And she's a 1-1. I'm one of the most famous people on the planet. Like you say Felicia from Friday, everybody on the planet knows who that is. And I'm just straight ones. You know, so I want people to see this. Like millionaires don't follow astrology. Billionaires do.
Wow.
So that's like the angel numbers. You know, like if you're seeing like the 3 3s, like I was on this thing of like 333. Everywhere I look, I just see 333. Or it might be a phase and I might see 1s, you know, 1s come up, or 1111 on the clock,
11,
or something out. So 1111, I keep seeing, you know, you keep seeing those things. See, people call those angel numbers and things like that. I believe that too. You follow that. I'm like, well, I must be on the right path if it keeps popping up. Like
that's it. That's it. Just know that you're on the right path. 3, and you got to look at in your life what's a 3. 3 makes up everything. You got the Holy Trinity. There's only 3
I was
colors.
born March, so I'm 311. So.
Okay, so that's girl. There's nothing that you can't do. So we get all of this stuff in front of us that lead us astray, that make us doubt everything. We should have no doubt as human beings, as being a human being. You should have no doubt that you're going to get to where you're going, but you have to get rid of. Listen, I'm not.
Yeah, you can say that, but how you deal in the meantime? Like I know where I'm going, bars, but how do you deal with that meantime? Like I'm waiting. I'm gonna get there, but the patience and
that's the thing. Get out your way. Get out of your way. It's not the win. It's not the WIN. You know, you always looking at the win, the WHEN. Right. The win is going to happen, but the win is not up to you. You got to follow all of your signs. You have to be faithful to this path of numbers. Like computers, we're only on this computer screen because of ones and zeros.
Binary.
Binary.
Exactly. And that's how you get all of the. Bill Gates is a 28. Elon Musk is a 28. Denzel is a 28. Some of the most powerful people in the world are born on the 28th. You two together, your 11 is a 2 and he's an 8. Together, there's absolutely no stopping you. If if you follow it.
Well, listen.
No, but that's
I'm
the whole
gonna
point.
go ahead and pass the plate around. This like we're just having church up in here. Pass the plate.
No, but this is great
Ooh,
because
put
that's
something
what
in the
Cross
plate.
Bars podcast is about. Like, you know, it's just me and Big O. You know, we're thankful that, you know, you guys are coming on here. You don't know who we are, but we're gracious and we're thankful that the people that we've had on the podcast, you know, has given up wisdom. And we want to be that cross connection in our podcast so that somebody might need to hear this thing that you're saying right now and look at our podcast. You know, we want to be that common thread, you know, to humanity. And that's what Cross Bars in the back. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know when you're going to need them or they're going to need you. And so, you know, with Cross
It's all
Bars
frequency, but it's just every number has a frequency. Like Kathleen is a 1, so she's got the frequency of a 1. I'm a 1. I have the frequency of a 1. Everything is frequency. So I tell people this, when you're trying to manifest something, you have to think it, because thoughts are frequency. I don't say, you know, try to get $1 million. If you ain't never had no money, you get $1 million, you're going to get in trouble. Start with about 50 grand. So you keep thinking 50 grand, 50 grand. That thought, the energy and the frequency of that thought is the same energy and frequency of the actual 50 grand. So when you say open sesame, all of these abracadabra, all of these words are manifesting words. If you say, I have, you know, it's gratitude. That's the biggest frequency that you can project. When you say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have this $50,000. That $50,000, the universe has no other, it has to connect to that thought, because like attracts like. So if your frequency is $50,000, I have $50,000. I have that $50,000 is literally going to fall out of the sky. And don't worry about how it's going to get there. That's how you get in your way.
Don't say I have it, I need it.
That $1 billion.
No, don't say you need it, because then that's creating you say I have it. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have this $50,000. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me frequently and easily and multiplies. That's what you say every day. But it's like energy. And that's the same thing with numbers. The number 7's energy is music. The number 1's energy is God. Nothing is in front of a 1 but God. The number 8 energy is infinity. You're gonna, whatever you just, you're gonna just keep, nobody can knock you down. You know, so it's all frequency. And I would hope that, I always tell people this when I'm talking to them, whatever the mind, so we get in our own way, we're stopped that 50 grand when we, you know, you got me effed up. No, you got you effed up. Now you done stopped the 50K and it just slows down, but it's still coming. That's why you don't know when the win is, when your win is when. You don't know. So just keep, because we get in our way, we get in that frequency, our thoughts, you know, look at this bitch, you know, that stops, you know, when you start thinking negative, it's just gratitude. All day long, I'm saying, oh my God, thank you. Oh my God. My place is so cute. Like I have the cutest home and I'm renovating, and it's just wake up. I'm so grateful. Oh my God, thank you, thank you.
Instead of what you don't have, it's so easy to go to the other side. Like I don't have this, and oh, I wish, and Lord have mercy and help, you know, and you get through that, and so that's a negative. It's so draining, you know.
Yeah. So if you just claim it in the moment, all day long, you're creating this frequency. Just create this frequency and everything that you're asking for, but don't be stupid enough to ask for I want a pink elephant to appear in my living room. You know, the universe is going to bring me a pink elephant. It's going to start moving a pink elephant towards me, but that it'll take 25 years. I need tangible, what really makes sense, and it's not $1 million. Most people, it's 30 to 50K. Just start thinking it and it will come. It will come, but get out of the way. And that's what numbers is about.
All right, Miss
Kathleen, you agree? Is that are you on that same page?
Oh, I am definitely into the numbers and things too. I can't tell you, I'm very so intuitive and have had things happen, or words I say manifest the same time as saying them on TV, or when I'm reading something, that word pops up. There's been some words that you wouldn't even believe that are not a typical word that they were saying on TV, and I was writing it at the same time. Even numbers and figures. But every time, it's so odd. Every time my husband and I go out to dinner, he says, "How much is the bill? How much is it?" I've hit it for the last 5, 10, 6 times. Almost on the nose. He said, "Wait a minute, that's freaky." What the bill's like $160.98. I said, $168.69. He was like, he couldn't believe it.
But she's
I was
an
glad
example.
he was paying, though, huh?
She's an example of getting out of the way. Like Kathleen could gossip her if she wanted to, but she doesn't. All her relationships, I've sat and I've talked to her. I've picked her brain. We've been on the road together. And Kathleen, I almost started crying. She only talks about wonderful experiences, and she only talks about people she just in a high regard, when in fact, it's some people that have done her so dirty that she could be like, and this chick and this, but she doesn't. She always, I mean,
high
my
frequency.
but she always takes the high road, and that's why she sits in the position that she's in right now. She's got a loving husband. Her children are okay. She's extreme. She has currency of wealth. Her currency is her fame. Like, so
same for you. We're so much alike. And that when we kind of first met, we worked together all those years, but a lot of people didn't know each other from the movie Friday because we didn't have the opportunity to actually work with each other. I think the first time we met was during the screening, and we hadn't seen each other really talk since. And then Billy Griffin from the Miracles wanted us to do the talk show, and you reached out to me, and we just became, after that, friends for life, and just found out we have so much in common. And we're really like true sisters at heart, and for all intents and purposes, for so many reasons. And we are very much alike, and I just love her to death. She's incredible. You are incredible.
This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
I'm so grateful. Like this, right now, this is God. This is God right here. This is right here. Absolutely. And you just suck this up. And that's what Kathleen brings to every table. That's what she brings.
And I'd have
all
to
the
say
time, consistently.
Our executive producer, Malik, he's one of those manifestors. He can see, babe, I'm going to get this. And we go get these people, and he'll put up a board, and next thing I know, he'll say something. He's like, "I need some speakers." One time, literally, a dude knocked on the door and was like, "Hey, y'all want these speakers?" And I was like,
"Wow!"
like how we met, and everything. Like our whole. That's how I know like who you're meant to be with and things like that. Just how we met alone is definitely, divine. People might not understand that, but we met for 3 years straight, almost a year to the date for 3 years. I can never remember his face, could never remember anything about him. And the last time he saw me, he's like, "Yeah, I told God next time I saw you, you was gonna be my, you was gonna be my girl."
You wanna be your boo? That was
we're 17 years married now. You know what I mean? But there were so many coincidences. His sister's birthday is my sister's birthday. My aunt was his principal. His dad, his birthday.
It was in alignment. It was in alignment, divine order.
And guess what? And guess what? The name of the place where we met was. We both do poetry. We met at Our Story bookstore.
Oh, that was my man. That was my sister boyfriend. That's his spot.
Yeah, that was my cousin.
But that's what my book is about: frequency. And those coincidences aren't coincidences. Deja vu is not.
I know.
It's all energy.
And unlike hers, I'm dishing the dirt in this shit, okay?
All right.
There we go.
Now I get a chance to dish the dirt, okay?
What do you want people to know from your book, Miss Kathleen? What about it?
When I wrote my book, Backstage at the Price is Right, Memoirs of a Barker Beauty, I actually got fired from the Price is Right. I was there 10 years, really wonderful. And there's some misconceptions about why me and Janice, who had been there 29 years, got fired. And that we weren't really fired and let go for younger models or what have you. But, I got a little settlement. It could have been more. Some circumstances were prevailing around my family and household why I couldn't really hold out that long and needed to have the cash and the money, which was okay. And after years and years I was brewing inside a bit, but I kind of let it go because, you know, I'm not that kind of person to hold that kind of energy. But I always talk about I wanted to write a book, So finally, I was able to write the book, and I just got to it. It took me about a year or so to put some stuff down, and it's my 10 years, encompassing 10 years when I was on The Price is Right. And it gives you an in-depth look at what goes on in the backstage of The Price is Right, and or some of the productions and how, you know, people were treated. If there weren't that many Black people working there, and how there was some prejudice there and sexual harassment and different things of that nature. But most of it's very happy. It's got a lot of my little storytelling and my energy. You can feel me all through it. A lot of great pictures. I love photos. I'm not the best reader, but I love to write, and I love to look at pictures in a book. It's just like when I go to a restaurant, if they don't have no photos to eat, I don't want it. I gotta see it.
I got you.
Look, the Mexican restaurant, you'll have fun. They got all kind of pictures.
Oh, and then the Chinese. But it's a fun book, and it's an easy read as well. And it's just, you know, about my time with and people love so much The Price is Right. Want to find out, did you get to keep the clothes? How was Bob Barker? How was Diane?
Right.
How was Diane, Janice, and my relationship with them? And just and it talks about some of the things that happened in my life when my father passed away during the time I was on the show. And I talk about that. And it's not really my life story, but I'm going to do that eventually. But it was a fun book to write, and it's a fun book to read. You know, just like it, love it, and learn what you can out of it. You know, that's it.
Absolutely. Okay. So, we waiting on your book. I got my book too. My book's right here in the backyard.
Oh no, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I write poetry, so I have a book of poetry here.
Oh, wonderful.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody go on Amazon and buy our stuff, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You can find mine at Amazon.
KROSS to KROSS. It's a poetry journal book, and it talks about, hopefully, it's almost kind of like your timing when you said that, because it's about chronological time versus Kairos time. So like Kairos moments are like moments that's happening now, you know, something you can't plan, they just happen, you just meet. And so my experiences is the poems that I write. The journal page after that allows you to write what you experience after you read my poem, which you can come up with your own poem or your own journal or something like that. And so This is Jason Jamila. This is me, guys. First book ever. Wonderful. So
great. Okay.
Fantastic.
Oh, your turn.
No, I'm wearing my friend t-shirt, BCS Big Cat Series. You know what I mean? Dale, you know what I'm saying? So go to the website, Big Cat Series, all day, every day. Shout out Dale. Look, Plainfield, stand up. What? I was like, whoa, y'all talking about books? Yeah. I was like, I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, it has been most wonderful having you ladies on our show. We got Miss Angela Means, comedian, actress, writer, chef, model, entrepreneur, farmer. we got Miss Bradley, actress, single model, author. She's a host. You know, beautiful mother and all those things. Glamour. Absolutely wonderful. So we just thank you all for being on the show. I'm Jay Tanae. That's Big O. Where can we find you guys on social media? If somebody wants to connect with you, or
I'm about to
you can go to my
DM.
website, angelameans.com. angelameans.com. And my socials are there, but my social is I represent my food. I'm most active on Instagram. I'm at Chef Angela Means. And I'm also on the other, but I'm most active on Instagram, Chef Angela Means. But you'll find me on my website, angelameans.com.
Angela Means. All right, Miss Bradley, where can we find you?
I do have a website, KathleenBradley.tv. And I really need to upgrade it, but it's been around for a long time, but it still has some good stuff on it. And my Instagram is Kathleen Bradley _Mrs. Parker. And I have a couple of Facebook pages, Kathleen Bradley, when Kathleen Bradley read, but those are the two main things and the ways to get a hold of me right now.
This ring.
All right,
Please
all right.
accept me as your
Well,
friend, because I'm about to talk to both of y'all, because
Okay.
y'all touched me. I'm real talk. I'm not even
yeah,
joking.
no, for real, yeah.
Y'all
This
really
is a
touched
different one.
me.
This was different.
This
Yeah.
is because I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going through my own thing, and I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
that gave me some
Yeah.
motivation. That's why I was like, you're lucky you have
Yeah.
a plate out there, because I would have put something in it. So and for
They
me,
got a cash app. They got cash
yeah,
app,
look,
Venmo, Zelle.
I'm gonna say this because I did this some
Yeah.
years ago, and I know I've been doing the right thing. I actually was a little down. That's why I got Facebook, because it felt like negative energy. And
Yeah.
so when I got to Instagram, I said, I'm no longer looking for friends or looking for supporters. What I'm going to be is anybody that I know I have a relationship with, I'm going to be a supporter. I'm not going to look for friends. I'm just going to be a good friend. So what I do is I always try to support whatever somebody's doing. And I'm like, well, if you cut me off, you just cut a supporter. You know,
Yeah.
if you're like, if you never mess with me, it's no, like, if I'm not messing with you, it's like, I don't lose anything.
You
But I
heard that
always,
phrase, when you find yourself in the dark, you're probably the light.
yeah.
Ooh,
So bars. Bars. But
When you
what
find
I'm saying
yourself
is,
in the
yes. So what I did was I said, you know, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna be people that I have relationships with. I'm gonna
And
be
you're going to
big
shine your
supporter.
light in
Absolutely.
this dark place called
That's right.
social media.
Yeah.
You're the
boy,
light.
I love that.
Absolutely. So that's
Love
why
that,
I was
love
like,
that.
no, you got this going on, I'm supporting it. You got that going on, support it.
Oh, I
Watch,
love
Yeah.
you're gonna find anything you post, I'm gonna have a like on it. You're like, I know who's gonna have one, there's gonna be Omar right there. So that's what I do. I don't feel like I don't mess with them. No, if I know you and you're doing something positive or X, Y, and Z,
Right.
I'm gonna support you regardless. So that's why
Yep,
when you
that's
start
right.
talking and y'all start saying things, I'm like, oh no, you didn't pick up like an interview, you picked up a support. You know, so whatever you're
Yeah,
doing, I want
boy.
to support. So
Yeah,
2 books
yeah.
is already got, you know. So
Yeah.
so don't worry about that.
I want it.
Those books already
Yes.
got. So I'm like, all
Yeah,
right,
for
yeah, when I
sure,
leave
for
here,
sure.
that's it. But let's go because I ramble. So I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
stop. And she got
And
to
we got to pull him in. He got to take his
Absolutely.
medication in a few
Absolutely.
minutes.
I hear you.
Absolutely.
But no, I'm Jay Tanae. That's Big O. You can also find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, X, all the streaming mediums. We are KROSS BARZ. It's KROSS BARZ. Look us up, y'all. We ready to go. We had a great time. We love you too. Best wishes, love, prayers, everything for you and your family. We love you guys. Thank you again for being a KROSS BARZ.
You know.